Well, I want to thank Vandana and Kikli for this lovely opportunity, and I enjoyed myself listening to all these young girls, young women, and where are he? She's not here. Um, you all have done so much in this field already, and I can see that you want to go a long way on this path, the path that you have chosen for yourself. Like Sir said, poetry requires practice, and the practice begins with reading. So, the first thing is to equip yourself with a lot of reading, a lot of reading outside your courses, because most of us are only reading our course books. But beyond that, reading all kinds of poetry. And then the second thing is the kind of language or which language you would like to write in. That's very important, because sometimes we can make the wrong choice of, like Sir said, the medium. Be very confident of your choice, whichever language or languages you will choose to write in. So if you choose to write in two languages, you need to read double. You need to read in both the languages, because each language has its own history, its own structures, its own metaphors, its own devices, and you would need to learn therefore in both the languages. Yeah, so choose it. It's hard work, as you know. You have to go back to your poem, chisel it, cut it. My advice to everybody, all those who write, including the PhD students, is don't fall in love with your work. Don't be enamored by what you have written, because you need to edit it. You need to be harsh, and it may have written something very beautiful, but it doesn't fit into that poem. You have to scrap it out, and that's something that I find most people find very difficult to do. So you are your first critic. You are your first critic. So look at your work dispassionately as much as you can. Do not write for others. Write for yourself. If others read it, good. But that is secondary. You must write for your own self, for your own soul, for your own pleasure. It's very important to listen to live recitations as something that we've done today. We have learned from each other, isn't it? We've been learning, and as Sir was talking to you, I was making mental notes. Okay, all right, this I should do, this I must note and remember. And all of us learned from each other. It's really nice to have people walking with you, walking down that path. And because we are so many of us, so all of us will encourage each other, and also maybe even compete with each other, or say, ask, what have you written? Have you written? Every time Sir meets me, he asks me, "Or ma'am, kya likh rahe ho?" Anyway, I don't write. I have resigned from the title of writer. I'm not writing anymore. But it's nice to have people helping you. Also, start small with you. All have started small. Work on the basic units of your poems, and then build them up slowly. So not anybody can write an epic or a great ballad or a long poem at the outset. So start small and then take it further. Also, don't obsess on a poem too much. So you can write something, put it away, write something again, go back to the other writings you have done, keep revisiting. For English, at least, I can say not so much with that kind of confidence in Hindi or other languages, that the literary devices, very often we are using them as cliches, right? So we need to avoid the cliches, and how will we know they are cliches? If we read, then we understand that this has been done to death, and I think I will let it be now, yeah, and use something else or coin something else. It's very important to know your devices. So there is a world of literary devices out there. So from metonymy to synecdoche to and the meters that you have in the free verse libet. When you look at, there's so much to be done over there. So it's not just metaphor, simile, image. There is so much more that you can add to the richness of your writing. Also, please make friends with the thesaurus. You need to work on your vocabulary, right? So a thesaurus would be a very good thing to have. There are online thesauruses now available, so you don't need a bulky book. You just need to access it online. So work with it. And what else should I say? One more thing. Yeah. Like Sir said, a poem should convey a big idea. The poem can be small, it can be long, but there has to be an idea there which speaks to the heart, which speaks to the mind, which makes people think long after the poetry has been read or said. It should stay with you for some time at least. Some poems will stay with you longer, like Sir talked about Kabir. Yeah. Why does Shakespeare's sonnet True Love speak to us even today? Why? We all talking about romance and true love, but what does he say? True love is a marriage of the minds, yeah, which cannot be shaken, which does not die, which does not age. Why? Because it's between the minds. This is we always talk about souls or atma, or we talk about bodies, or we talk about hearts. Shakespeare is saying it is the mind, and he's taking us to this understanding that it has to be conscious. Love is not it happens. It has to be worked upon consciously. So marriage of true minds is a beautiful idea. It stays with you. So सारे फिल्मी गाने एक तरफ और शेक्सपियर की ये लाइन that it's a marriage of true minds एक तरफ. So you need to have an idea. We just don't sort of react to what we are seeing around us. But we think, like Wordsworth said, we contemplate, we think, we reflect, and then the feeling is again aroused. So it's not spontaneous overflow just because at the spot ऐसा थोड़ा होता कोई मर गया है वहाँ पे लाश पड़ी है और आप तुम डेड उस पे लिखने लग जाओ डेथ पे कोई पोइट्री ऐसा तो नहीं होता है ना. That feeling stays with you, and that is tempered with thought and with your own experiences and your reading, and then something nice or meaningful will come out of it. Do not hanker after applause. Do not hanker after likes. Work towards your own satisfaction. And if you are happy with your poem, it doesn't matter if a Meenakshi or an Atma Ranjan says nahi achhi nahi hai. You should be convinced that what you put out is the best that you could have done, and be happy with it. Finally, it is very nice to be part of Kikli Book Club. It is very nice to be in conversation with other poets, because that helps you to build yourself. Okay, great poets have always worked in clubs and groups. So they and writers and painters, musicians. Yes, so there is always this activity. You see, the greatest writers have been part of a group or a partnership, etc. There are very few solo writers जो कहीं भी नहीं गए हों और किसी केव में बैठ के लिख रहे हों. Most of the poets have interacted with other poets. They have read other poets. They've written criticism of other poets. Criticism as in reviews. And that is how they have learned, and they've helped other poets also to grow. So happy writing. And I hope to see more of you. Thank you so much.